B.B. King's not just great, he's like great.
One note, you know, is all it takes.
The note with the vibrato.
One note.
One note.
One note.
I can hear B.B. King with the sound off on the TV, just by looking at his face.
That is from the documentary B.B. King, The Life of Riley. John Brewer spent 3 years with the blues legend producing and directing that film. Our news team tracked John down in Oxfordshire, England, to share his memories of B.B. King. John, I've been hearing amazing accolades, stories coming from, you know, Bryan Adams, Lenny Kravitz, Brad Paisley. For you, what did B.B. King mean to you?
Well, first of all, I have to tell you that it's a very sad day, but it's also a very joyous day that we, the notices coming into me and from my friends around the world who knew B.B., Eric Clapton and many others. What is it about B.B.? B.B. was and probably is one of the few remaining, or was one of the few remaining musicians of that time, which basically is or was the true blues music that was created that attracted such artists as Eric Clapton and Led Zeppelin and all those rock bands that came over what we call the British invasion. B.B. King was not only reality, to influence them to such a way to interpret the original American blues in their own way, which has carried fame into the rest of the world. And as making the film with him was something else. Over 47 contributors and over 200 hours shot on film. So it was a major occupation for me for 3 years.
You know, you can think it would be a little trying sometimes having a crew following you around, sharing bits of your life. What sort of man did you find him to be off camera? Well,
B.B. King was very similar to what he was on camera. I mean, but the difference was that when you spoke to B.B. King, you felt that you were in some sort of divine presence. And he had this wonderful way of being able to make you feel a little bit more divine yourself. When you left, you thought, oh, I'm a better person. And, you know, it was a very strange thing. He had his moments. He had his moments with me. He was getting older, and as you get older, which I'm now experiencing, you get a lot more short-tempered. And, you know, when you get off the bus, you know, he'd always travel by bus in America, even if it was down the road, but a little way. But he hated the planes. When he came across the big pond, of course, then he would. But he was always a bus man. He was a touring man. But he got frustrated as much as anybody else did. And he loved his food, and he loved his way of life. But he was definitely, as Eric Clapton said to me one day, for God's sake, John, don't let him stop touring. And unfortunately, in December, I was told that he had to stop. And we knew. Great musicians don't retire. They die.
Wow.
And today we experience that great musician has gone to the sky. But I just know that what he did in his life will remain with us forever and far past my grandchildren and my grandchildren's grandchildren. You know, he was a wonderful, wonderful musician.
Final question for you, John. When I think of some of the people who have meant something in my life who have died, there are incredible moments of belly laughter that I remember, you know, tears coming down because I'm laughing so hard. Did you have those moments? Is there something that stands out for you with B.B. King?
Well, one of them was trying to film him because he wanted to be filmed in his bus.
Yeah.
And I never forget that his driver was so proud of this beautiful wood that in BB's private area in the bus. I mean, he had a whole bus to himself, but he kept a private area. And the wood was so good, he was so conscious of me saying to my crew, don't mark the wood. And we were in San Francisco, and what everybody didn't realize was we were going up and down hills, and we were all hanging on to the cameraman, and I'm still trying to speak to him, and BB was laughing his way because it was quite extraordinary. When I saw him at Glastonbury, which is our big festival in England, he said to me he was very nervous going on. And I sat in silence. I hadn't seen him for 5 years, since 2005, since I did the Eric Clapton interview. And he turned to me, and we looked at each other. We couldn't really... And I asked him, I said, you look really hungry. And he said, I could die for fish and chips. So I begged him to not die whilst I ran through the crowds to get B.B King fish and chips. And I'll never forget coming back that his main man who died said, I have to taste it first. I said, there's no chance. This is going straight through to BB. And he laughed his head off, of course. He said, they think you might poison me, John. And I went, well, I don't think so. Not this time.
Wonderful for you to share your memories, and I want to thank you for taking the time, and I wish you strength.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and don't forget about BB.
Bye-bye. John Brewer in Oxfordshire, England, the producer and director of the documentary B.B. King, The Life of Riley.